Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Bristol Spotlight. Welcome to another bulletin from the intrepid reporter Ben Gray and his YouTube channel, Bristol Spotlight, which is dedicated to exposing corruption within the Bristol judiciary, the Avon Somerset Constabulary, CPS, CID, you name it, and I'm on the case. In this particular case, this is obviously to when you're campaigning to expose corruption in the local police and judiciary and so forth, it comes at a heavy price. And part of that price is to have a knock on the door from a PC Ratcliffe at 1 o'clock in the morning, some April 2021. Demanding that I open the door, or else he's going to kick the door in. And I say, what is? I have obviously opened the door in those circumstances, and he tells me he's looking for a Taurian White, who has given my address as the address where he lives, whilst he's being detained by the police on what turned out to be drugs allegations. And of course, I don't know anything about a Taurian White. I've never met a Taurian White, never had any dealings with a Taurian White. I made this quite clear, and we'll see the video in a moment of the visit from PC Ratcliffe. I hope you'll agree it's something straight out of Banana Republic, police, terrorism, death squads, in that vein. The knock on the door at 1 o'clock in the morning on this trumped up nonsense about a bail address. So I'll play the video for you, and then we'll discuss the extent of corruption and terror that this officer is engaged in.
What's the reasonable suspicion of what?
Okay, so I'll just get the paperwork out, shall I? So this is the address given by a Taurian White as his home address.
Taurian White?
Yeah.
I've complained about him. There's nobody living here called Taurian White. I've been getting posts from Taurian White to do with vehicles and stuff, and I've called the police.
Oh, okay.
Okay, my name's Benjamin Gray. I'm well known to the police. I'm involved in all kinds of situations.
Yeah, sure.
So, I've tried to clear this up. I called the police about half a year ago.
Okay.
So,
do you want to just come in and have a quick chat about it then?
Well, I mean, no, I don't. I mean, are you saying that you have to search it, even though you know that I can identify myself? I can get your passport.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Ray,
could you not be on the property?
You said that you had a load of. Sorry, mate. You said that you've had a load of stuff for this Mr. White come through the door. Have you got any of that here?
No, I haven't kept it, but I've had letters coming through.
Okay, I'm really sorry.
I've had somebody else, a Miss Connolly or Connor, has also given this address and I've had police knocking round.
Yes, we are, mate. I'll point you back shortly.
Can you get this sorted, please? Because I'm Benjamin Gray. No, there's no other person living here.
We're at 6 Boswell Street, mate. I'm just having a chat with the person who lives here at the moment. I think we've been sold to Joey. We're just going to get some details. We'll do. Right, we'll start again, Mr. Gray, if that's okay. My name's Simon Ratcliffe.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't mind, I'll just take a few details, if that's okay.
Yes.
And then
I do mind, but I don't have any choice, do I? I mean, you know, if I've tried to get this White investigated. He's that I've been getting failing to show at magistrates' court and God knows what.
Oh,
and
really?
I've called the police, told them about that, and you know, the fact that I'm known to the police seems a bit odd that they wouldn't know.
Like I said, we've got a gentleman in custody at the moment saying that this was his address, and I do apologise for getting you up at this time.
Well, you haven't got me up, thank God, but I mean, obviously if I'm getting a knock at the door at quarter to 1 o'clock, it's not going to be good news, is it?
No, okay, yeah, I appreciate that. So you said that you've been having a load of paperwork, court summons, you said?
Not a load of paperwork. I probably had about 3 or 4 letters in the last 3 or 4 years I think there may have been a white who was a witness in a case. Is he a black man or black youth, sort of mid to early 20s? Because there was a kid who was that rings a bell that was involved in a court case in about 2008.
Okay. You said some vehicle paperwork as well?
I mean, I can't remember what it was about. Whether
yeah.
I mean, the only issue is that you've identified me. I mean, you know, where do we go from there? If I've identified myself as Benjamin Gray, and you know me anyway, the police know me.
Ben, I've never met you before.
No, please don't call me Ben. Could you call me Mr. Gray?
I can call you Mr. Gray.
Yeah, thank you. Well,
yeah. I've never met
first
you.
name terms isn't really appropriate, is it?
Okay, no problem. Let's start again.
No, we're not starting again. We're starting from the conversation we've been having. Either you are satisfied that I'm Benjamin Gray and that there's no Taurian White that has ever lived here, all right? Certainly in the 15 years since I've owned the house, okay? I mean, the police own half of this house because I've sued the police and they've won the case and they therefore own 6 Boswell Street. So this guy is telling you that he's living in a house that you in fact part own, or your chief constable owns.
Okay.
Okay, so
I don't know anything about that.
well, no, I mean the point is, do you now still want to search the place? If you do, please get it over with. If you don't, if you're satisfied that I'm Benjamin Gray, then please go away. Okay.
Okay. Let me just get a supervisor on the phone. Once I've done that.
Yeah. I mean, can I close the door and you can do what you have to do? And
as long as you promise that you're going to open the door to us again.
Well, why would I have opened it in the first place if I'm not going to open it again?
Mr. Gray, I think you've probably had some bad experiences with the police. I'm being really polite with you. Okay, just let me do my job.
No, it's no question of whether you're being polite or not. I don't have to be grateful for your being polite.
No
Am I a suspect? Are you here about me? So
I'm not
okay,
here
then
about
fine.
you.
All I want you to do is
this address.
Please sort it out, though. Please sort it out. Yeah, but that's not no skin on my nose, is it? It's got nothing to do with me.
Okay, cool.
I mean, the only issue. Well, I mean, whether I close the door or shut it, all I want you to do is to satisfy yourself that I'm me, Benjamin Gray,
I've
and that
seen
you
your
don't.
ID.
Yeah, so
I'm satisfied with that, Benjamin.
But what else do you need for you to go away? What other step do you have to take, or whatever?
I'll get on with the supervisor.
Yeah, please do that.
Lovely.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There we have the long arm of the law in the form of PC Ratcliffe. As I say, you don't see the earlier moments where he's threatened to kick the door in if I don't open the door, but once the door's open for him, there he is standing, demanding that I provide him, insinuating that I have this is the abode of one Mr. Taurian White. The name rings a bell, as I pointed out to this officer, because I've been receiving summonses and probation reports, all addressed to Taurian White at my address. So he's been given my address as formal probation, and I tried to call probation services, and they just gave me short shrift. Weren't at all interested in the fact that Taurian White, as a parolee, was giving my address when I've never met the person, he's never lived here. He has no connections with me whatsoever, as far as I'm aware. And this is another manifestation of Taurian White using my address illegally for official purposes, with apparent utter collusion of the police themselves. You can see that, first of all, this officer offers no serious apology for terrorising me at 1 o'clock in the morning, when God knows what an officer's doing at 1 o'clock in the morning, but it's always going to be something bad. Either a relative has died, or you're under arrest, or something of that nature, or I myself, or the person that's being visited, is the victim of some form of crime, which ironically is exactly what is going on with this trumped up rubbish about looking for Taurian White. Apart from anything else, the police own £100,000 worth of this property that I live in is owned by the police in litigation. So they're effectively visiting themselves, their own address that Taurian White has given them. So there's no serious interest from Ratcliffe once he has become, or he claims that he's suddenly become aware, or he's aware at that moment that Taurian White doesn't live at my address, and the word he uses is sold a pup, or expression of that nature. And then he's off in his merry way. I mean, he had to sort of shoo him away from the door a bit, because he wasn't. It didn't seem to be appeared to be leaving in a hurry. But as I say, without any form of regret that he's disturbed me or the locals, my neighbours as well. That was the end of that chapter. But then a few days later, I received a letter from one Allen Hoole. The firm of Allen Hoole. In this case, it was I think a Ned Kemp. Just double check the name. A Ned Kemp, who's a solicitor for. I don't even know if he's a proper solicitor. I think he's a paralegal. But let me just double check that as well. No, this is accredited representative. So just a solicitor who's contacted my address, but addressed to, as you can see, Taurian White. Obviously, the letter will come up here. A photograph, if I can find it, of Ned Kelly here on the other side of the screen. And this letter is dated 7th of April 21. And it lists, it says, "Dear Mr. White," starts off, "Dear Mr. White," at the address of 6 Boswell Street. "I was pleased to help you with this matter. Allegation, I refer to your attendance at Patchway Police Station on the 6th of April 21, when you were interviewed in relation to an allegation of being concerned in the supply of cannabis. Police disclosure. The police pulled over a Honda around 2100 hours on the 5th of April 21, and within the vehicle was green vegetable matter, snap bags, scales, a small bag of white powder, and a pot containing vegetable matter." So from that account, I would have thought that Taurian White was bang to rights. Scales, white powder, etc. But apparently not. Ned Kelly seems is either a very good solicitor, or he's very corrupt and has the police in his pockets. But in any event, this Ned Kelly got Taurian White out, and he's carried on using my address. So we see the extent of seriousness with which Ratcliffe has taken the news that my house has been falsely given as an address, which must presumably be a criminal offence in its own right. It must be perverting justice to give a false address, a home address, or there must be some statute defence against it. Especially if that officer is coming to the home address of the person who actually lives at that address and threatening to kick their door in at 1 o'clock in the morning. So put them in fear of major violence. So just on that basis, it's clearly some form of fear of violence crime that has been committed by an officer fraudulently coming to my house. And instead of that officer taking it seriously, he's in cahoots with Ned Kelly of Allen Hoole in giving my address to come and terrorise me, and then to continue to use my address as a means of communicating from his, or exchanging communications with his solicitor. And it's no coincidence, ladies and gentlemen, that I've had a history with Allen Hoole. Allen Hoole and I go back to 2007-8, when they represented me. I was accused of a minor public order, a common assault in a park, in my local park in Fishpond, Eastfield Park, or Fishponds Park, whatever it's called. And I was appointed this solicitor firm to represent me whilst I was being arrested. I'd already been effectively tortured by the police because I'd resisted arrest, so I had injuries. I was put in straps and held for many hours. And then I had an interview with Damien, who was another solicitor from Allen Hoole. I forget his surname because it was so long ago. But the incident, it involved a dog bite. where I claimed that I'd been bitten by a dog, or owned by a female owner of the dog, and I'd got into an argument with her because the dog was clearly psychotic. It nearly taken a bite out of my shin, and it was only a few 250 meters from a children's playground, and this woman was walking around with a dangerous dog, and I told the police that I was the victim, that they'd decided to arrest me on her allegation that I'd given her a gentle shove, which was her allegation about me. They'd said that I was given a full story about the bite, even though I had a visible injury on my leg, and even the lady admitted that her dog liked to attack people with footballs, which I've been playing with a football. So after all of that, the advice that Damien gave me before interview, he said, whatever you do, don't mention that the dog has attacked you. And this is obviously then I wouldn't have had any. I had admitted to having some altercation with her. I think I denied touching her, but I certainly had been very angry with her because of the attack from the dog. And he apparently wanted me to keep silent about the dog and stitch myself up and end up in all kinds of trouble. I still got convicted from even after I'd fired him, and that's a whole story for another day. But whilst they were representing me on this case, they kept letting me down. They weren't returning phone calls. They didn't attend interviews that they pre-arranged. So I complained to the Law Society of the day, the School of Legal Ombudsman now, but at the time it was called Law Society, and got £600 or £700 compensation, and they were told that they provided a poor service, and that they thought they ordered the firm to pay up, and so they were not best happy with me. And I bumped into Damien in St Paul's area of Bristol a couple of years after the finding of the Law Society, and I sort of laughed at him, and he was effing and blinding. He was committing about 4 public order offences just off the back of that. So this is what they're like. I mean, Damien, he never mind the £600 compensation. He was trying to pervert justice and stitch up his own client by advising his client not to mention in interview that he'd been attacked by a dog as justification for his altercation with the dog owner. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is me. Years later, paying the price. I pay the price because no firm will represent me, as I've already said. So the police is to arrest me when they feel like it, because they know that I cannot get any proper defence, and all the judges hate my guts. And that's, if you watch some of the videos that are coming up or that I put up, you'll see what all that's about. But this is major criminal terrorism, gangsterism, putting the fear of God into me, and it's impossible to figure out who's actually the boss. Is it Ned Kelly? Is it Taurian White? Is it PC Ratcliffe? Or is it all three of them? Simply having a field day of criminally using my pad as a legal address. And I even wrote to this firm, and the Ned Kelly responded with an email saying, yes, we're aware of the problem and it's now sorted out. Again, no apology. Probably, at some point I could complain to the Solicitors Regulation Authority, who keep people like Ned Kelly in check, but they're as corrupt as Ratcliffe and Allen Hoole. So I've probably been wasting my time, but I'm exposing it here. And this is, of course, this is the world you, ladies and gentlemen, live in here in Bristol or in the UK, where this is, anybody that they think they can get away with it from. So somebody like me, without money, without means, without social support, no connections, then on minimum income, it's the law is simply goes out the window, goes by the board, and it's simply rule of the gangster, law of the jungle. And if in some future date, ladies and gentlemen, they come knocking on your door and you get the Ratcliffe treatment, that's because you didn't stop it when it was coming to my door.